Reciprocity, 43109. I spoke earlier about the difference between religions. The key component in religions that are actually religions that are headed towards God in some way, shape, or form is that they have a reciprocity rule. Without a reciprocity rule, there is no feedback on negative and no feedback on positive. If you never have an opportunity to be punished for something bad you did, then it's not a religion, it's a cult. Wicca has a feedback reciprocity rule. Basically what they say is we're going to do what we want but harm none. And if we harm anyone, then we will get a flow back of multiples of what we have sent out. So if, under that idea, if I said, I want that person's car, that's evil. You're taking something from somebody. If you get that car, then you can expect to lose that car and at least two more like it represented in the reciprocity rule. For instance, if you, Jesus' statement about bread upon the waters, some churches have taken that to some interesting extremes. I'll explain that in a minute. But it's the idea that if you are compassionate with the world, if you give of yourself and your gifts that God has given you, then you will be rewarded and blessed with that sort of thing back in multiples. It's never just an eye for an eye. We're talking about if you give one good thing to somebody, you're going to get 3 to 20 back, depending on what tradition you're in. Depending on what tradition you're in. The problem with not having a reciprocity rule is there's no responsibility. There is no answering for anything. You'd basically do anything you want to. That's Satan's way. He doesn't like rules. He likes doing his own thing. And everything gets sent to him when you work for him. It's not reciprocity, it's parasite. Because he doesn't get anything from God, he has to take it from us. Anyway, so reciprocity, all religions have power that they can use. We all have personal power. This can be drawn on. Some religions and cults use unwilling energy being taken, abuse, torture, blood sacrifices. All of these release power that can then be used by someone who knows how to grab it up. This is not God's way. The way that God looks at things is all power comes from God. If you are not getting your power directly from God, then where are you getting it? Are you stealing it from somebody because you're abusing them? Are you getting it from your dog because you're mistreating them? Are you doing it because you're getting it because you're bullying your children? These may be ways of short-term getting energy, and it can be wielded to create manifestations, but it is not the way that God's rules are set up. This is not Christianity when you do any of these wishful things. It is not our will that is important, it is God's will. When we follow Jesus' rules and example, then we allow God to work through us, to guide us and show us what is wanted from us. An example of some of the religions that use power. Here's a verse. Verse 48. Jesus said, "If two can make peace with each other in this place, becoming one, They may say to a mountain, "Move," and it will be moved. Love will overcome all obstacles. When love finally rules in heaven and on earth, the human potential will be boundless. What he's talking about is not the use of personal power. This is if people are able to become one with God, then they will be granted the power that God has to work together to do great things. This verse and the verses that are mirrored in the New Testament of this are often used by sorcerers who say, hey, it says I can use power, and if we all get together in a coven and all agree to use our power for one thing, then we have a right to do it. Well, yeah, you do if you're a Wiccan, but if you're a Christian, no, because that's not how Christianity works. We work through God's will, not our own. If there is no reciprocity rule, then it is not a religion at all. It is an accumulation of ways of manipulating energy, but it is not a religion. I encourage people not to do the a la carte way of collecting their religious beliefs. Each religion has its set of rules, requirements, and ways of doing things. It's like blending two totally dissimilar things, hoping to create something personalized for yourself. But the problem is that the rules are so conflicting that they would negate both sides. So you would wind up not being a true Wiccan or whatever you were, and you wouldn't be a true Christian either. So you wouldn't get the benefits of either one. You might have the facade of doing all the rituals of anything you wanted to. I have known several Christians, at least they call themselves Christians, that practice Wiccan-like rituals. And they still think of themselves as Christian, and I have to disagree. If they want to be Wiccan, more power to them. I wish them luck. But they cannot be Christian and one of these other things at the same time. By the same account, you cannot be Wiccan and do Christian things. Because in Wicca, it is your will that is important, not the will of God. In the Buddhist tradition, it is this higher power of the universe that controls everything, but you have no choice at all. In the Hindu religion, they have karma. And the idea behind karma is that what you do reflects in the next life you will lead. So if you do really bad things, then you come back as a lesser life form. There are some extremes in this religion, and some of them regard every creature as having a soul, to the point where you don't want to kill even a gnat because it could be a relative. Again, we don't believe that people are punished by being put into the bodies of animals. This is a different way of looking at things. We do believe that animals have souls, but we don't believe that they're human souls. If you stay away from the a la carte method, if you need to find out where you belong, go distinctly to each of these places and study. I did. When you decide which one is important to you, that touches you, that answers to your basic needs, stick to it. Be the best of whatever it is you have chosen. Because if you don't, if you are wishy-washy and do a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this and call yourself Christian after doing all these other things and continuing to practice these other rituals, then you quit being a Christian and you're a pagan. God bless the whole world, no exceptions. Angel Eliza.